everyone. Welcome to The Context Machine. This is episode number 714. I'm Jeff Gamet. In case you couldn't tell, I'm not Brian Chaffin. I know sometimes it's really difficult to tell us apart. Brian would be here, but I sent him on a secret mission. And when he gets back with dairy-free dark chocolate, then he can come back into the studio. But in the meantime, we do have a special guest today sitting in for him, Dave Ginsburg from In Touch with iOS. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. This is exciting. It's been a while.
It has, and it's always a treat to get to hang out with you.
Yes.
So Brian, if he's actually watching the recording, he's probably flipping out because, you know, he's mostly pedantic. And I did not go through our usual spiel at the beginning. So Brian, just for you, here's some of the rest of that stuff. Okay. Check us out on our online home, contextmachine.io. And we're also on Blue Sky, contextmachine.bsky.social, and we're on Mastodon at Context Machine. We also have an email, which is podcast@contextmachine.io. And we have a newsletter, contextmachine.io/newsletter, or just go to contextmachine.io, click the newsletter button. It's right by the merch button. And then you can sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Merch.
And Dave, you are wearing a Context Machine shirt, and it looks absolutely beautiful on you. And for those of you that are listening as opposed to watching, I am now holding up my Context Machine mug, and I do believe everything tastes so much better in this mug.
It will once I get it. I haven't got it yet. But as you're recording this, I just got this not even an hour ago.
Wow. It's, excellent timing.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Dave, since you are here and you have your own perspective on things separate from Brian, separate from me, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at the announcements that Apple made last week as we record about accessibility. But I want to look at that from the take that we're starting to see crop up this week, which is, hey, maybe Apple's doing something with AI and we just weren't paying attention to their strategy. And it's about how Apple is integrating AI into accessibility. And my short take is, why has everyone not been looking at things like this? Everyone meaning the echo chamber and the media in general, because this is the sort of place that we've been talking about for a long time, where Apple is very successfully using AI and has been for a long time.
Yes. Yeah, it has been. But they haven't, they're behind the eight ball here because what's going on, Apple? You got to get on the bandwagon here. It's just not been very good, at least not yet. But when you got Anthropic, you got OpenAI, you've got Google. All these guys are doing so much more in the AI world, where you guys you've announced this 2 years ago, and all this stuff is just now coming to be. A little behind the times here, behind the eight ball here at this point, but I was glad to see the accessibility stuff, because that is very cool. And to help our friends who have those that are disabled. They were showing their video that had all the things with the vision and with audio and touch and motor skills, and then go back onto and they also had the one with the Vision Pro that actually can work with a wheelchair wearing a Vision Pro, where a person who has hand issues or can't grab a handle, the Vision Pro can use their eyes to work with accessibility. So it's obvious that Apple is really into getting these things going on the accessibility end. But boy, I mean, we only have 2 weeks left before literally 2 weeks from this week until WWDC, and I'm excited to hear what's going to be announced, because I have this feeling that they're finally going to get AI going. They've got seems, as all the rumors say, They got the players in place, well overdue, getting things going. But yeah, it's sad for a bit, but I'm hopeful.
I'm hopeful as well, and I think, okay, for me, Apple's big problem with AI has been that they have not been like really forward with the way they've been using AI successfully, and then they made it even worse when a couple of years ago they announced all these flashy AI things that they were bringing to the iPhone, and they have not delivered. And so Apple did a really good job of making it look like they are so far behind everyone else because they weren't able to deliver on these features that apparently didn't even exist at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And why didn't they exist? That's what I'd like to know. So it just doesn't make any sense. But these accessibility features are just pretty incredible. And again, if you go to the news release, it was back on the 19th of May. They went through some of this detail, like I said. Natural language navigation, voiceover, magnifier. The magnifier, I use that magnifier all the time, and you don't have to have a disability. I mean, yeah, my eyesight's not as good as it used to be. I mean, I'm old. What can I say? But it works really well, and then the voiceover can use the magnifier to allow you to explore more. So they've really enhanced all this stuff. So this is just the start of something that's going to be good. But boy, like I said, we hear all these rumors, discussion. Oh, they're partnering with Google. They're partnering with ChatGPT, with OpenAI. Then they're battling with OpenAI. And
yeah.
They have to give in the fact that you can't do everything in-house as much as you want to. I mean, they've done a great job with the chips, with all the chips for all their devices, which is great. But now they're going back and saying potentially the folks that they use to make their chips can't keep up, and then now they're going back to who they were using for so many years and abandoned them. What is it, 6 or 7 years? No, going back, but at least 6 years ago to Intel. So where's that? So you got that issue going on, but then they're not reacting to AI. Now, with the news today, I don't know if you heard, it was on the news today that the Pope had said that AI is going to ruin the world, and you shouldn't be using it. And I think I don't have the exact quote what he just said, but so you're starting to hear things like that. Do we trust AI? Do we trust it? I mean, where I work in an enterprise environment. It's all in. I mean, I'm not just the only one in the company that I work with, but it's everywhere. I mean, companies are really looking at it closer, and Apple's not staying on top of that. And they want to expand into the enterprise. They're doing a good job of it. I mean, spinning off this topic here, but they need to react too. Unfortunately, and I say that because Microsoft is Microsoft, but they're going to. Most of these companies are going to stick with Copilot because it's a Microsoft product.
Of course.
It's integrated. It does this. It does that. And, granted, it has its place. It does do a good job of a lot of things I've used it for. And the integration to all the Microsoft 365 apps, like Outlook, it's right there for you. Help you write that email, make it cleaner and more professional. PowerPoint, it's built right in. You have ability to being able to correct the content, ask the content. I mean, in fact, I brought this up to you pre-show, just using ChatGPT. I should try it in Copilot just to see what it does. But I use ChatGPT because that's my go-to. I use a Rodecaster Pro, which is an amazing little deck that a lot of us podcasters use. I'm going to start sounding horrible, and I'm not an audio guy like our pal Dave Hamilton, because he's so great at that. I envy him what he knows because he's a musician and knows audio real well. But a few years ago, I mean, I had the first Rodecaster, and I didn't understand it because I'm not an audio guy, but I'm a podcaster. But you don't need to know it because you know, become a podcaster. You just put your face in front of a microphone and start talking. But you know, my point is, I must have spent a good hour and a half just conversation back and forth, sending screenshots. How should this be said? And then it knew my voice. It said, well, your voice would sound much better if you do this. And just those kinds of things that AI can do, I think, have such value. I mean, unfortunately, there are some bad characters out there that will take AI into account where it could cause harm, and that's going to be no matter what you do. Mm-hmm. But the fact of the matter is, you being able to do things like that, just giving that as an example, is just so important. If you look on the work side of things, you know. Microsoft offers a work and a web interface for AI. So if you go on the work, I think it's absolutely amazing. Hey, can you find that email that I sent like 30 days ago? And it finds it because it's searching out internally into the company, finding that a particular bit of information, because I remember I sent this, and then boom, like within seconds, I've got that. What I have to do before, I would go in the wonderful search in Outlook and try to find that email. Another good example of this, and I tell you, Apple's missing this. They've got to get their act together. But you know, like I said, we got some excitement coming up ahead with WWDC, and I hope that I hear a lot of discussion. I would kind of expect it at some point.
I'm with you. I think Apple will talk about AI a lot during WWDC. I don't think they're going to go to the extreme that Google did with Google I/O, which, I mean, they should have just called it Google AI, because that's, people were counting up how many times they said AI during that presentation. Yes. And I saw numbers, it was like 1,000 or I don't know, but my favorite part of that was when people were like, okay, actually, even though it's physically not possible, we're certain Google said AI during their presentation infinity times.
Yeah. Well, then think about what Google's was obsessed with, was their wonderful new Google book designed for Gemini intelligence. Yay, exciting.
Yeah.
They don't even have a spec on it yet. You have no idea what it is. What is it comparing to? Yeah, companies are afraid about the MacBook Neo. And I spinning my thing here off this, but this has something to do with AI too, because you're getting a Google book instead of a Chromebook, which, God, off the Chromebook, kill me if I have one buried here somewhere. I probably should go put it as a boat anchor somewhere.
Right.
That, you know, they said they're designing it all around the Gemini intelligence. So they're trying to capitalize on what Apple was attempting to do and never did. Yeah, we have Apple intelligence. It's doing some things, but it's not overly exciting. The S Lady's needs more improvement, and it really does. I mean,
absolutely
not very good at all. I've seen newer things that it's been doing, but nowhere near what it needs to be. Yeah, we're not back 10 or 15 years, or was it 10 years ago at least, when Siri came out, that it was is it worth using now? No, because there's so many other things. Even with Amazon, with the Echo and their devices, they've really become some major strides there in the AI world. I mean, it comes up every time. You know, you go to Amazon. You know, Amazon's got their Rufus. Where they came up with that is beyond me. But it's
someone lost a bet.
Yeah, they apparently so. But Rufus is there, so I can ask Rufus a question when I want to know something about this particular product, instead of having like we all used to do. You scroll through the girl's thing and look through it and see it, or you do a Command F and search, you know, or go to Google. And I think what's going to happen too, there's another thing with Google. I think Google itself, the search engine, it may just be Gemini. It may just integrate completely in that. Now Google has that advantage, because that's by far the world's most popular search engine. Mm-hmm. and integrating which they pretty much already have done now. You got the web AI that comes up every time you search for something. It's going to continue on with that. Well, if you notice, Microsoft hasn't really done anything with Bing. Bing is their search engine, but I think they've kind of given up. If I'm not,
it kind of feels like that.
It does. Yeah. It does. I mean, they want just all Copilot all the time. That's their front end, and they want everybody to use that. But then going back on AI, do you use those products as a quote unquote search engine? I do. I search for things and ask for things all the time. Why not?
Sure. Okay. A lot of people had already started using LLMs as their search engine. Yeah. And Google, they've taken that and really pushed that to the forefront, to the point now where really when you do a Google search, you're not doing a Google search, you're doing a Gemini search. And so from a perspective, you can say, well, Google is dead, long live Google, because they decided to change how we search. And ultimately, I think to our detriment. And okay, so here's where I'm going with this. To our detriment, because what Google wants is to keep us in Google. You know, like Facebook wants to keep us in Facebook. Amazon wants to keep us in Amazon. So if Google can use Gemini to go and collect all the information that we need, then we don't need to go to the website to see the information. And that means the people that are creating the content that's actually useful, they don't get the traffic anymore. And then that means that ultimately these people or these businesses that were probably counting on ad revenue or donations or some sort of transaction to generate revenue to keep their site running, they're not going to be able to do that because the traffic is not going to their site.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where you have to wonder, where's that going to leave a search engine? You know, why can't it? Why do you think all of these other products like OpenAI has its own browser, Perplexity has its own browser,
right?
Claude, it has its browser. So you have all these other browsers that are doing the same thing and linking to that, or is it going to be the same thing like you can do in a browser now, where you can change to the whatever specific search engine you want to use? I tend to search when I do use Microsoft Edge a fair amount at work because I just find it to be good and it integrates a lot to what we use. But I don't want Bing. I don't like Bing. I don't ever want to use Bing.
Yeah, I've never had good experience with Bing.
Yeah, but it still has Yahoo in there. It still has all these has-been search engines in there. Well, why aren't they going to put in all these AI tools? Well, one thing for sure is, many companies are going to stick with just one platform because if they can't control all the content that goes out, then they're not going to do it. And I don't know. I'm sure OpenAI and Perplexity and Claude and all them are looking to do that. But, you also look at Claude. Claude's more of a coding type of platform, doing a lot of coding, which actually they have integrated Claude into Copilot. Interestingly enough, it's one of the LLM choices in there. And I think Claude's doing a lot of that in other places too. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so we ended up doing a very nice organic transition along the way into AI in general, which I'm glad we did because I wanted to talk about it with you. Before we wrap up, though, I want to hit another topic that seems to be like a huge thing for so many people. MacBook Pro touchscreen.
Okay.
First, do you think this is happening? And then second, what's your take on whether or not Apple should do that?
I'm kind of surprised that they're even thinking about this. I mean, they had the touch bar, and boy, what a flop that was. I had a MacBook Pro that had that silly thing. I probably used it like once, twice, if that.
See, I loved the touch bar because I used apps that took advantage of it, but it was a total flop. And I blame Apple for that completely, because they only put it on MacBook Pro. If it's not on every device, there's no reason for developers to put the extra work in to support that. So it could have been more than it was, and it turned out to be a total dud. And that's all on Apple.
Oh, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, it would have to be a separate type of screen. I mean, on Windows machines, it's like a dime a dozen. And I was sitting with somebody in a meeting this afternoon, and I forget you could touch your screen, because I use a Mac most of the time at work now, and it's like, I always type things in because that's how I am. I mean, so I forget that you can do that, and and PCs can be flipped over as a tablet, so you can flip the lid all the way over behind the keyboard to the base, and then it turns into a tablet for you on a Windows machine. Well, I think that's a poor design, especially if I'm going to hold it and you got the keyboard that you're fondling under it, while you're holding it as a tablet with a stylus. But I also wonder, is Apple potentially looking, now we've got the MacBook Neo, is Apple looking at something like that? They're combining Mac with iPad. If iPad is the de facto touch screen, and Apple's been resistant of all the people that we've had friends that are always saying, "Oh, well, you should be able to put Mac OS on an iPad." Why? I mean, there's just no reason. It's a completely different experience. Mac is more designed to be, you're hardcore doing writing. You're a writer, so you probably would rather write on a Mac than you would necessarily on an iPad.
Sure, yeah.
So the same thing with touch. I mean, you're doing with the pencil. You're doing a lot of design on a screen. Do you want to do that on a Mac? I wouldn't think so. So what else is what other point of a touch screen is going to be for a Mac, honestly? Yeah, you can touch it and manipulate things. Okay. I mean, I've done that plenty of times on my Windows machine, but a lot of times I don't, so I don't know. I'm kind of thinking it's all pure speculation and a rumor, honestly. I'd be surprised.
Well, okay. So here's my take. Of course, Apple has a touchscreen Mac in their labs.
Of course. Doesn't mean releasing it.
Yeah. Doesn't mean they're releasing it. And I don't think they're going to release a touchscreen MacBook Pro. Now, if Brian were here, he would point out that when I say Apple's not going to do something, it guarantees that they will. However,
that's right.
I'm really feeling like this time, no. And part of the reason is the touch bar. The touch bar was available on just specific Macs. It wasn't available on every device Apple makes.
Right.
And I feel like if you're going to do a touch screen and you want to have real solid developer buy-in, then you need to have it on every device. And you can say, well, look at that. The iPad, the iPhone, they're touch only or touch first. So, of course, you have full buy-in from the developers because that's what the interface is. So now, if you put it on a Mac, that means you're putting it on just Pro Macs or just specific Pro Macs. And I'm talking MacBook Pros specifically. So, yeah, is it going to be just there? And if so, is that reason enough for developers to invest the resources into supporting it? It's not like you're going to use it with a Mac Mini. And or does that mean that Apple's going to add touch support to their own Studio display?
Yeah.
Now, do we have to get iMacs with touch screens?
Yeah, I mean, there isn't as many touchscreen monitors that I've seen, and if there are, they're very expensive. Because I continue to always talk about, I love the 34-inch curve that I have here with Dell. They have they do, and they go into the touchscreen world. The all-in-one devices, you see those tend to have them only because they're all-in-one. Then they want to emulate what a Windows laptop could do. But again, that's a whole other story, going down the desktop route and the all-in-one route, because we don't know where the iMac is going. But it is, I don't know. I just don't see. It's not a big market is on monitors. I mean, I think people do like them on the Windows machines, but on a Mac, I just don't know. Our friend Marty doesn't like that. He's he buys everything. We know, if you know Marty Gensius, we know he buys everything, but he's not so keen on the iPad. So he doesn't like really using it much. He doesn't find it as helpful as of his dozen or so Macs he owns. So.
Yeah. And people, that's actually not a joke.
It's not a joke. It's legit. He's got at least 2 or 3 Neos, so that I know of.
Yeah, he only needs a couple more, and one for each day of the work week.
There you go. Each color, and then start over.
Yeah. I'm just not feeling the touch interface for the Mac. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yep. So, Dave, we should wrap up.
Okay.
And this has been great. And you've had so many awesome thoughts that you actually made my job easier, because I could just kind of sit back and let you go. And that was fantastic. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Before we wrap up, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me at In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com, YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. And for shows, I do the Neo Notebooks Sundays with Marty Gensius, Eric Bolden. And then Mondays, we do Vision Profiles with Marty and Eric as well. And we have a lot of fun doing those 2 shows, focusing on those 2 hot things that are going on right now. And then shortly after this show we're recording today, we'll be on Mac Voices Live with Jeff Joyner and our fine crew of panelists. Thursdays we record In Touch with iOS. Fridays with you on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network. And in social media, I do Blue Sky and Mastodon. Dave G65.
Awesome, Dave. Thank you very much. I'm so happy that you're here. Okay, and this is the place where Brian sometimes gets it right when he hits the button to make that sound. All right. Okay, everyone. You can find us at contextmachine.io. You can find us on Mastodon, Context Machine. Blue Sky is contextmachine.bsky.social. We are on YouTube at Context Machine Show. Our email is podcast@contextmachine.io. And of course, our merch and our newsletter, both available at the website. And Dave, I love your shirt. It looks absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that our Context Machine t-shirt design came out well. It looks awesome. So everyone, thank you for joining us. And as long as Brian is on his best behavior, he can come back next week.